For 32 years, Ruby Dean, believed my family's love was unconditional. That was the lie. My wedding day in South Boston, with 46 empty chairs, brutally ended that illusion. Hours before, my mother, Denise, left a 41-second voicemail. A wedding is just a party. It wasn't a missed call, but a calculated boycott. An organized silence, family chat screenshots, 27 blank RSVPs, and a flight itinerary to a gender reveal 2,600 miles away. This 32-year lie unraveled in 72 brutal hours. And the architect? My mother. She was probably picking out confetti, unaware her world was collapsing. Before I do, take a moment to like and subscribe, but only if this story earns it. Drop your city and your local time in the comments. I like knowing who's out there. I grew up in Redfield, New York. Population 4,000. The kind of town where your neighbor knows your grades, your grocery list, and your business before you do. My father, Glenn, worked as a technician at a small manufacturing plant on Route 12. My mother, Denise, ran the town library and ran our family the same way she ran her circulation desk. Everything cataloged. Everything in its place. Then there was Megan, my younger sister, for years behind me. In the Dean house, there was an unspoken rule. Whoever needed mom the most got mom the most. Megan needed mom for everything. What college to apply to, what to wear to prom, whether to take the highway or the back road. Every question funneled through Denise, and Denise loved it. She thrived on it. Being needed was her oxygen. I was different. I applied for scholarships on my own, filled out my FAFSA at the school library, got into UMass without telling anyone until the acceptance letter arrived. I packed 2 suitcases the August I turned 18 and drove myself to campus in a car I bought with 3 summers of babysitting money. I didn't rebel. I didn't slam doors. I just handled things. And somehow, in my mother's math, handling things meant I didn't need her. Not needing her meant I didn't love her. Not loving her meant I didn't deserve the same attention she poured into Megan. That equation ran under every conversation for 14 years. I just didn't have the proof yet. The pattern didn't start with my wedding. It started with small things, the kind you explain away until you can't. My college graduation, 2016. I walked across the stage at UMass Amherst with a degree in computer science, $43,000 in scholarships, and 0 family in the audience. They showed up 2 hours late. Glenn said traffic. Denise said Megan had a dentist appointment that couldn't be moved, a cleaning on a Saturday, 3 hours from home. You know how Megan is with needles? My mother said, like that explained everything. My 28th birthday. I'd been in Boston 4 years by then, working as a software engineer, paying my own rent, my own student loans, my own everything. I waited for a call all day. Nothing came. 2 days later, Denise texted, "Oh, honey, things have been so crazy with Megan's move. Happy belated." She spelled my name wrong in the follow-up. She wrote, "Ruby, my promotion, senior engineer, 2023. I called home to share the news." Denise said, "That's great, sweetie," in the voice you'd use for a weather update. Then she spent 15 minutes on Megan's new apartment in San Diego. The balcony, the pool access, the distance from Kyle's office. I listened. I always listened. Each moment was small enough to forgive. A late arrival, a forgotten birthday, a half-hearted great, sweetie. But patterns don't lie. 300 small moments stacked into something I couldn't explain away anymore. Each one so minor, you feel foolish for noticing. Each one so precise, you can't call it an accident. I kept a mental ledger, without realizing it. The columns were filling. The balance was about to come due. I met Nathan Calloway at a biotech conference in Cambridge, October 2023. He was on a panel about diagnostic access in underserved communities. Portable devices that could run blood work without a full lab. The kind of technology that could matter in towns like Redfield, where the nearest hospital is a 40-minute drive. He wore a flannel shirt to a room full of blazers. He drove a 12-year-old Ford pickup. He talked about growing up poor in rural Vermont, losing his mother at 15, working construction through college while building his first prototype in a rented garage. We got coffee after his panel, then dinner, then coffee again the next morning. He asked about Redfield, the real version, not the postcard. He asked about my family. I told him the truth, which I almost never did with anyone. Your mom sounds like she has strong opinions, he said. That's one way to put it. He laughed. I liked his laugh. It was quiet, like mine. Nathan co-founded Metabridge Technologies 3 years before we met. 47 employees. Their flagship diagnostic device was an FDA fast-track review. He talked about his work the way engineers talk, specific, measured, no extra adjectives. I understood every word. When I mentioned Nathan to my mother, she asked what he did. I said, he co-founded a medical technology company. Silence on the line, then, oh, a startup.
Pause.
That's brave. She pivoted to Megan's baby shower registry. 22 minutes about bottle warmers and organic swaddle blankets. My mother filed Nathan under irrelevant before she learned his last name. She never brought him up again. Nathan proposed in February 2024. No crowd, no flash mob, just us on the back porch of our Cambridge apartment, snow falling, his grandmother's ring, and 6 words, I don't need anything except yes.
I said yes.
We planned a small ceremony, a waterfront restaurant in South Boston, 50 guests, simple menu, local flowers, no DJ, just a playlist we built together over 2 weekends. Total budget $11,000. We paid cash. I sat at our kitchen table one Sunday and hand-addressed 31 invitations to the Dean family. Each envelope held an RSVP card. Ivory cardstock, pale blue border, neat print. Will attend, will not attend, number of guests. I stuck stamps on every return envelope so nobody had to cover postage. I made it as easy as possible to say yes. That same week, a different envelope arrived at our apartment. Heavy paper, gold foil edges, confetti spilled when I tore it open. Megan and Kyle's grand reveal, San Diego, California. Join us for the most magical moment of our lives. Custom calligraphy, embossed monogram. That one invitation probably cost more than my entire stack of wedding stationery. I stood in the kitchen holding both. My simple ivory cards in one hand, Megan's gold foil production in the other. One weighed almost nothing. The other was thick enough to prop open a door. Nathan walked in, saw me staring. You okay? I mailed 31 invitations today.
Good.
The first blank one comes back by Friday.
He didn't argue.
He poured 2 glasses of wine and sat down across from me. I was right. The first blank RSVP showed up that Friday. Every day that week I checked the mailbox. Monday, 2 blank cards. Wednesday, 5 more. By the second Friday, 19 returns sat on my dining table. Ivory rectangles tucked inside their stamped envelopes. Checkbox lines untouched. No, will attend. No, will not attend. No note. Just blank cardstock mailed back, like junk mail. I lined them up and counted. Uncle Ray, Aunt Carol, Cousin Derek, Cousin Tammy, the Winstons, the Holts, except Jenna. 14 more. Each envelope had a name in my handwriting. Inside, nothing. They didn't bother to check will not attend. They sent empty cards as though the question didn't deserve an answer. I called my father. Glenn picked up on the 4th ring. His voice was careful, rehearsed. Honey, listen. Things are tight this year. Your mother and I talked, and we can only take 1 trip this year, sweetheart. You understand. 1 trip. I let that phrase settle in my chest like a stone. Dad, Boston is 3 hours from Redfield. You don't need a plane. Denise's voice cut through the background sharp and fast. Tell her we'll call back. The line went dead. Nathan was on the couch when I set my phone down. He didn't say, I'm sorry. He didn't say, they'll come around. He looked at me and said, what do you need? I needed someone to confirm I wasn't losing my mind. Nathan did that by refusing to pretend any of this was normal. 27 blank cards arrived before the wedding. I kept every single one. 1 week before the wedding, March 7th, I called my mother one last time. Voicemail. I left a short message. Mom, it's Ruby. The wedding is Saturday. I just need to know if you're coming. She called back at 2:17 p.m. while I sat in the parking garage at work, engine off, hands flat on the steering wheel. Her voice filled the space between concrete walls. Honey, your sister is giving me a grandchild. A wedding is just a party. You'll have other milestones. A pause. A measured breath. I love you, but we need to be there for Megan right now. 41 seconds. That voicemail ran 41 seconds. I played it back 11 times, sitting in that dim garage, watching the dashboard clock tick from 2:19 to 2:41. A wedding is just a party. 7 words. Each one a lock clicking shut. I didn't cry. I counted minutes the way you count ceiling tiles in a hospital room, just so your hands have something to do. Nathan found me that evening still in my coat, standing at the kitchen counter next to the stack of blank RSVPs. Hey, you okay? My mother isn't coming. I know. None of them are. A long silence. Then, do you want to cancel? I looked at 27 cards from people who couldn't be troubled to check a box. I thought about Denise's voice, flat, decided, like she was declining a library hold request.
No.
I want to know who shows up. 4 people showed up. Nathan, my cousin Jenna, who drove 6 hours round trip from Redfield. 2 colleagues who rearranged their Saturday mornings. That was my wedding. For guests, 46 empty chairs, and a voicemail I couldn't bring myself to delete. March 15th, 11 o'clock, Waterfront Restaurant, South Boston. Morning sun through floor-to-ceiling windows, harbor water silver and flat. The staff had set everything the night before. White tablecloths, wildflower centerpieces, daisies, lavender, baby's breath. Place cards at every seat. 50 glasses of water, 50 rolled napkins, 50 settings of silverware catching light from empty windows. 4 of those settings had people behind them. The hostess approached 10 minutes before the ceremony. Would you like us to clear the extra place settings? Leave them. I want to remember. Jenna arrived at 10:40 wearing a green dress she bought at a Syracuse mall the day before. She grabbed both my hands in the doorway. I'm here. That counts. The rest is noise. 3 hours each way. She was the only dean who made the trip. 2 aunts had called her the night before asking why she was encouraging Ruby's behavior. She hung up on both of them. The ceremony lasted 12 minutes. A justice of the peace, Nathan's business partner as witness.
Jenna to my left.
Nathan read his vows from the back of an index card. The final line, I don't need a crowd to know this is real. Nobody gave me away. I walked between empty tables by myself. I'd been walking into rooms alone my entire life, handling things without a hand to hold. This time, someone stood waiting at the other end. That was enough. We ate lunch, the 4 of us. Our playlist played from a small speaker.
Fleetwood Macs, Sam Cooke, Eta Yames.
Nathan pulled me up to dance between abandoned chairs. Jenna took pictures on her phone. My colleagues raised their glasses to us and caught a 2 o'clock train home. At 3 o'clock, I checked my phone. 0 messages from Redfield.
No congratulations.
No sorry, we missed it. The family group chat had 12 new messages, all about Megan's nursery paint colors. I looked at the harbor through the window. The water was gray and still. I was done explaining away silence from people who couldn't send 5 letters. And though I didn't know it yet, 5 weeks later I discovered exactly where my family spent that same weekend. 2 weeks after the wedding. Our apartment in Cambridge. Nathan at the kitchen table reviewing contracts. Me on the couch with my laptop debugging a payment integration for work. Normal life. That's what I wanted. Mostly that's what I got. But I kept catching myself, reaching for my phone at odd hours, scrolling through the Dean family group chat like picking at a wound that hadn't closed. Messages were all Megan. Nursery updates, ultrasound photos, debates about car seat brands. 47 family members responding with heart emojis and exclamation points. Nobody mentioned March 15th. Nobody said Nathan's name. 2 weeks gone, and our wedding had vanished from the family record like it never happened. I told myself it was fine. I told myself weddings are just events. I told myself the voicemail was one bad sentence on one bad day. Nathan noticed I was waking at 3 a.m. He never pushed. He'd show up in the kitchen doorway, sleepy-eyed, and say, I'm up, too. Want some tea? One night, staring into my mug, I said, Maybe I overreacted. Maybe a wedding really is just a party. Nathan set the kettle down, looked at me. Ruby, they didn't forget your wedding. They organized against it. I had no answer for that. He was right, and I wasn't ready to face what it meant. The following Saturday, I opened Instagram while waiting for the dryer. Megan had posted a new album. The cover photo showed a balloon arch in pastel pink and blue, a banner reading boy or girl, a long table strewn with gold confetti. Location tag, San Diego, California. Caption, the most magical day, surrounded by everyone who matters. I stopped scrolling. I tapped the first photo, the second, the third, and I stopped wondering if I'd overreacted. 73 photos. Megan tagged 73 photos. Balloon arch, candy bar, a 3-tier cake with gold fondant, custom banner, confetti cannon station, matching shirts that said Team Boy and Team Girl, a rented estate with a pool and a row of palms, professional photographer, catered buffet, at least 60 guests. And there, in photo after photo, was every person who mailed me a blank RSVP card. Uncle Ray in a Hawaiian shirt holding a sparkler, Aunt Carol hugging Megan, tears on her face, Cousin Derek flexing beside a balloon column, Glenn in a new polo I'd never seen, arm around Megan's shoulder, and Denise, my mother, front and center in every group shot, confetti cannon raised like a trophy, smiling wider than I'd seen in years. All tagged, all geotagged, San Diego, California. Redfield, New York to San Diego. 2,600 miles, 15 states. They flew across the country. Redfield to Boston. 187 miles, 3 hours by car. I pulled the gender reveal invitation from our fridge. The gold foil confetti still trapped in the envelope. That same lavish style, now life-size, across a California estate. That card was never an invitation. It was a verdict. This is the daughter worth crossing 15 states for. 15 states, I said to the empty kitchen. They crossed 15 states for a confetti cannon. I sat on the bathroom floor for 40 minutes scrolling every tagged photo. Then I stood up and did something I should have done years ago. I'm sitting on that bathroom floor, and every scroll is another photo of my family grinning at a party they chose over my wedding. If you've ever felt invisible to the people who should have shown up for you, drop a comment and tell me your story. I'll read it. Hit that subscribe button because what I found out next changed everything. I got off the bathroom floor and did what engineers do. I calculated. Notebook, kitchen table, pen. Round-trip airfare, Redfield to San Diego, roughly $450 per person. 12 family members confirmed from the photos. Total flights, $5,400. Hotels in San Diego, 3 nights, 6 rooms at $180 a night, $3,240. Meals, ride shares, matching shirts, spending money, another $1,200 minimum. Total cost for my family to attend Megan's gender reveal. Approximately $9,840. I wrote that number at the top of the page, drew a line. Cost to attend my wedding in Boston, $40 in gas, 3 hours on I-90, or $120 for an Amtrak ticket. $9,840 for a party where they popped a balloon, $0 for my wedding. I stared at those numbers until the ink dried. Then I heard Glenn's voice again, careful and rehearsed. We can only take one trip this year, sweetheart. One trip? They took their trip. It just wasn't to me. Nathan came home at 6 o'clock. He found the notebook open on the table, the math written out in my handwriting. He read it standing up, didn't sit, didn't speak. Then, quietly, they will regret this. He wasn't threatening anyone. He wasn't scheming. He said it the way you'd say it's going to rain, like something already on its way.
How?
I asked. By losing you. I closed the notebook, slid it in the kitchen drawer, poured 2 glasses of wine, and sat across from him while the sky outside turned copper. He was right about the regret. I just didn't know the timeline yet. Nathan's schedule shifted in late March. More calls in the evenings, meetings that ran past dinner, his laptop open at the kitchen table after I went to bed, screen casting blue light across the ceiling. Everything okay? Asked one night. More than okay. Big things moving. I just can't talk specifics. He wasn't secretive. He was contractually bound. I that. NDAs, board confidentiality, the usual. I didn't push. We had a rule. We respected each other's professional boundaries the same way we respected personal ones. But I noticed things. Metabyte had grown from 47 employees to 62 in 4 months. Their flagship portable diagnostic device passed FDA clearance in February. Nathan mentioned their name appearing in 2 trade publications. One morning, a FedEx package arrived with a return label from a law firm in Manhattan I'd never heard of. Then came the suit. Nathan put on a suit for the first time since I'd known him. Charcoal gray, slim fit, tags still on the sleeve. He was flying to New York for a meeting he'd blocked out on his calendar as confidential. I straightened his tie in the hallway. You look like a different person. Same person, different clothes. Can you tell me what this is about?
Not yet. Soon.
He kissed my forehead and left. I stood in the doorway watching his pickup pull out of the parking lot. A 12-year-old truck carrying a man in a brand new suit to a meeting that would apparently change things. I didn't ask more. I trusted him.
I just didn't know the number yet.
My mother had called Nathan some startup guy. My sister's future husband emailed him pitch decks he never opened. Nobody in Redfield bothered to Google his name. That was about to change. April 9th, a Wednesday. Jenna called at 9 p.m. Her voice was different, tight, like she was holding something back. I need to send you something. I've been going back and forth for 2 weeks about whether to show you. Show me what? After your wedding, your mom called me. Told me I shouldn't have gone. Said I was encouraging your behavior. I kept my mouth shut. But then I stayed in the family group chat and started screenshotting. I sat down on the edge of the bed. Nathan looked up from his book. It's not just that they didn't come, Ruby. It was organized. What do you mean, organized? I mean your mother told everyone not to come. She gave instructions. I have the messages. Jenna sent a Google Drive link. 47 screenshots from the Dean family group chat. A thread called Dean Family Updates that included every Dean except me and Jenna. I stared at the notification on my phone. The blue hyperlink sat there like a door I hadn't opened yet. Ruby? You still there? Yeah, I'm here. You don't have to read them tonight.
I thanked her.
Hung up.
Set my phone face down on the nightstand.
Nathan closed his book. Everything okay? Jenna has screenshots from the family group chat. 47 of them. Are you going to read them? I got up. Poured a glass of water. Drank the whole thing standing at the kitchen sink staring at my reflection in the dark window. I opened the first screenshot at 11:14 p.m. I didn't stop reading until 2 a.m. What I found in that group chat was worse than blank RSVPs. Blank cards are passive. What my mother did was precise. 47 screenshots. 3 weeks of messages. Organized by date. 3 weeks before my wedding, Denise wrote, "I'm not going." She didn't even ask me about the venue. She planned everything without consulting me. That tells you where we stand. 2 weeks before, she followed up. If anyone is thinking about going, just know. It sends a message. She needs to learn that family means including your mother in decisions. Aunt Carol replied, "Denise, are you sure? It is her wedding." Denise, Carol, I know my daughter. She'll get over it. Megan, the same thread. Ruby's always been like this. Self-centered. She moved away and never looked back. Why should we drop everything for her? Uncle Ray, 1 week before my wedding. I sent the RSVP back blank. Like you said, Denise. Like you said, Denise. Those 5 words rewrote everything. Every blank RSVP card sitting in that shoebox on my closet shelf, they weren't lazy. They weren't forgetful. They were following orders. My mother gave instructions, and 31 people obeyed. Each blank card was a small act of coordinated silence executed on command. Then the messages after the wedding. Megan posted in the chat the Monday after March 15th. She married some IT guy in Boston. It's not like we missed anything.
Some IT guy.
Not like we missed anything. I sat on the living room floor at 2 a.m. laptop balanced on my knees. Blue light washing across my face. I heard my mother's voicemail playing in my head. A wedding is just a party. And I realized it wasn't something she said to me alone. It was a talking point. A script she handed out to the entire family. The same 7 words delivered to me as comfort, and to everyone else as a directive. My mother didn't skip my wedding. She organized a boycott. The group chat was still glowing on my screen when Nathan found me at 3 a.m. He read over my shoulder, said nothing for a long time, then finally, "What do you want to do?" "I already know what I'm going to do." "Nothing." He waited. "I'm done acting and waiting to be seen. I'll let the silence do the work."
I didn't sleep that night.
I sat in the living room until the sky outside turned gray, rereading the same screenshots over and over like studying a case file. She married some IT guy in Boston. It's not like we missed anything. Megan's words, casual, dismissive, wrapped in a laughing emoji. 38 family members reacted to that message. 22 of them used the thumbs up. I closed the laptop, opened it again, read one more thread. Denise, 3 days after the wedding. Has anyone heard from Ruby? She hasn't called. This is exactly the kind of silent treatment she pulls. Always dramatic. My mother skipped my wedding, organized the boycott, then called me dramatic for not calling her afterward. The logic was a closed loop, no exit. I played the voicemail one more time. A wedding is just a party. Now those words didn't sting. They were evidence. My mother said that line to me, then she said it to the entire family. The same 7 words used twice. Once as a blade, once as a banner. Nathan made coffee at 6 o'clock, set a mug next to me without a word, sat in the armchair across the room with his own cup. "What do you want to do?" he asked again. "Nothing. I'm going to let the silence speak." "Okay. They'll call when they need something. They always do. And when they do, I'll know exactly what they're worth." Nathan nodded, drank his coffee. Then we live our life. That was the first morning I didn't check my phone hoping for a message from Redfield. I finally understood. There was never going to be a text, never going to be a call. Not unless they needed something from me. 34 days. That's how long the silence lasted. I didn't block anyone. I wanted to see who reached out and who didn't. But I stopped responding.
No replies. No reactions.
No Instagram posts.
No breadcrumbs.
I'm not punishing them, I told Jenna on the phone. I'm protecting myself. There's a difference. Jenna understood. She was the only one who did. Life continued. I shipped a major feature at work. A fraud detection module I'd spent 4 months building. Nathan was deep in something I couldn't ask about. Late calls with his co-founder. Weekend trips to New York. A second suit purchased. I caught him once on the phone saying, "The due diligence team needs the numbers by Friday." He saw me in the doorway and smiled, mouthed, "Soon." On weekends, we walked the Charles River. We tried a new Thai place in Somerville. We stayed up late watching documentaries about Antarctic research stations and deep-sea biology. Normal things. Quiet things. The kind of life that's easy to overlook when you're busy counting who showed up to a gender reveal. I moved our wedding photos into a separate album. 12 pictures, 4 faces. Every single smile genuine. These were enough. In 34 days, Denise called once. She left a voicemail. "Just checking in, honey. Megan's baby bump is getting so big. You should see it. Kyle is building the crib this weekend. Wish you could be here." She talked for 90 seconds. She mentioned Megan 6 times. She mentioned my wedding 0 times. She mentioned Nathan 0 times. She didn't use my husband's name. My mother called once in 34 days. She talked about Megan's bump and didn't say the name of the man I married. Day 34 changed everything. Not because of anything I did, but because of a phone call Nathan got at 6:47 a.m. April 18th, 6:47 a.m. I was pouring coffee when Nathan's phone buzzed on the counter. He picked it up, listened, and sat down very slowly on the kitchen stool. He didn't speak for 15 seconds. Then he said, "Understood. I'll be on the noon call." He set the phone face down, stared at the counter. "Nathan. It's done. They signed." "Who signed what?" He looked at me, took a breath. "Meridian Health Systems just acquired MedBridge. The deal closed this morning." I knew MedBridge was in negotiations. Nathan had told me that much. A large medical conglomerate was interested in their diagnostic technology for a nationwide rollout. But he couldn't share numbers. Couldn't share timelines. Board confidentiality. How much? I asked. 1.2 billion. The mug in my hand tilted. Coffee ran over the rim onto my thumb. I set it down carefully. Say that again. $1.2 billion. Ari and I each hold 18%. I did the math before he finished the sentence. 18% of $1.2 billion. Nathan's share, approximately $216 million before taxes. I'd married an engineer who patched drywall on weekends and drove a truck with a cracked taillight. 14 hours earlier, he was fixing our kitchen faucet with a wrench from the dollar store. Now his name would appear on a press release valued at 10 figures. I started laughing, not because it was funny, because my mother had called this man some startup guy, because Megan had typed some IT guy in a family group chat with a laughing emoji. The press release goes out at 9 o'clock Eastern. Nathan said, Forbes is already queued. 9 o'clock came fast and Redfield, New York has very good internet. The Forbes headline landed at 12:07 p.m. MediBridge Technologies acquired by Meridian Health for $1.2 billion. Co-founder Nathan Callaway, 35, joins biotech's youngest 9-figure exits. The article ran 6 paragraphs. Paragraph 3 mentioned Callaway, who recently married software engineer Ruby Dean of Boston. At 12:43 p.m., Jenna called. She was laughing so hard she could barely breathe. Ruby, your mother just shared the Forbes article in the family group chat. She wrote, Is this Ruby's Nathan? 3 question marks. Caps lock on Nathan. I sat at my desk at work, phone pressed to my ear, and listened. Jenna read the chat out loud. Megan, wait, what? That's the IT guy? Uncle Ray, Lord have mercy, we didn't go to that wedding. Aunt Carol, Denise, you told us not to go. 14 minutes of silence after Aunt Carol's message. I counted, Jenna timed it. Then Denise, nobody told us he was this successful. Ruby never mentioned it. She was right. I never mentioned it because nobody asked. Not one person in that group chat. The same people who debated car seat brands for 47 messages ever typed, so what does Ruby's fiancé actually do? They didn't ask because they didn't care. And now the answer was on Forbes. And suddenly every dean in Redfield cared very much. I set my phone down, went back to my code. The screen blurred for a second, and I blinked it clear. My mother just found out the man she called some startup guy is worth over $200 million. 14 minutes of dead silence in that group chat. 14. I wish I could tell you it felt like victory. It didn't. It felt like confirmation. Proof that they measure people in numbers, not presence. If you've ever been underestimated by the people who raised you, stay with me because the calls are about to start. I left my phone on my desk at 1 p.m. and walked to the river. Nathan met me there on his lunch break. We sat on a bench near the MIT boathouse watching rowers cut lines across the Charles. He held my hand and didn't say a word. We sat for 45 minutes. I came back to the office at 3 o'clock. My phone screen was a wall of notifications. 215 missed calls, 74 text messages, 12 voicemails. I scrolled through the caller log. Denise, 43 calls. Megan, 31. Kyle, 27.
Glenn, 18.
Aunt Carol, 22. Uncle Ray, 14. The rest were cousins and relatives whose names I hadn't spoken aloud in years. Kyle called before anyone else. His first text timestamped 12:51 p.m. 8 minutes after the Forbes article went live. Ruby, congrats. Nathan must be so proud. We should all get together. I've got some ideas I'd love to run by him. 8 minutes. Kyle Torres needed exactly 8 minutes to convert a Forbes headline into a pitch meeting. Denise's first voicemail arrived at 1:14 p.m. honeyed, warm, a voice I hadn't heard from her in years. Sweetheart, I just saw the most wonderful news about Nathan. We are so proud of you both. Daddy and I were just saying we need to come visit. It's been too long. Too long. She used the words too long to describe a 5-week gap she'd chosen. I played the voicemail on speaker. Nathan sat beside me, elbows on his knees, listening. When it ended, we looked at each other. She said she's proud. I said, She said she wants to visit. Same thing in her language. Nathan exhaled. So, what now? Now I find out what they actually want. Denise called again the next morning. 8:30 a.m. sharp. I answered this time deliberately. I wanted to hear the script she'd prepared. Ruby, baby, I have been meaning to call. Life has been so crazy lately, but I think about you constantly. How's married life? How is Nathan? We never got to celebrate properly. You didn't come to the wedding, Mom. A half-second pause. Recovery. I know, and I feel terrible. You know how things were with Megan's pregnancy. Timing was just impossible. But that's all behind us now, right? Daddy and I want to drive up. Maybe this weekend?
Why now?
Why now? What do you mean, why now? You're my daughter.
I don't need a reason to see you.
You had a reason not to come to my wedding. What changed between then and this weekend? Silence on the line. 3 seconds. Then her voice shifted. A flash of steel underneath the sweetness. Ruby, don't be like that. Immediately, the warmth snapped back. Let's not fight, honey. Let's just plan a nice visit. I'll make that lemon cake you used to love. We'll make a whole day of it. I'll think about it. Don't think too long. Family. As I hung up, I sat at my desk and stared at the wall. The shift was so quick. Sweet to sharp to sweet. 15 seconds, 3 registers, 1 woman. My mother toggled between warmth and warning like flipping a light switch, and she expected me not to notice the click. I noticed. I'd been noticing for 32 years. The difference now was that I could name it. She didn't call because she missed me. She called because Forbes published a number next to my husband's name. Megan texted that afternoon. 3 messages, rapid fire. OMG, sis, can't believe about Nathan.
Kyle and I are so happy for you.
We need to get together. Kyle has this amazing startup concept he'd love to tell Nathan about. I didn't respond for 6 hours. She texted again at 10 p.m. Hey, did you get my message? Also, Mom is being weird about the wedding stuff. Don't let her guilt trip you. We should have been there.
I feel terrible about it.
There it was. Megan throwing Denise under the bus in the same breath she asked for a meeting with my husband. Classic rotation. Megan plays the reasonable sister when she needs something, then plays the victim when she doesn't get it. I thought about what she'd written in the group chat. She married some IT guy in Boston. It's not like we missed anything. Thumbs up from 22 relatives. I typed my reply slowly. You wrote in the family group chat that I married some IT guy, and it's not like we missed anything. I have the screenshots, Megan. 3 disappeared, appeared again, disappeared. Finally, that was taken out of context. 47 screenshots, plenty of context. Nothing. No response for 24 hours. My sister's silence told me more than her exclamation marks ever could. When she thought Nathan was nobody, she mocked him in a group chat. When she found out he was worth hundreds of millions, she typed, "So happy for you," with 3 exclamation points, and pitched her husband's startup in the same sentence. The distance between those 2 messages was exactly the distance between who my sister pretends to be and who she actually is. Glenn called on a Tuesday evening. His voice was different from the others, quiet, no rehearsal, no sunshine.
Kiddo.
A pause so long, I thought the call dropped. I know we messed up. I sat on the edge of the bed, phone pressed to my ear. Nathan was in the other room. I should have been there, Glenn said, at your wedding. I wanted to be. Something tightened in my chest. Then why weren't you? Your mother.
He stopped.
I heard movement in the background, a door closing. Then, almost whispering, I just want you to know I'm sorry. I mean it, Ruby. For exactly 6 seconds, I believed him. His voice cracked the right way. The words landed the right way. For 6 seconds, my father was just a man admitting he was wrong. Then Denise's voice, sharp and close. Glenn, who are you talking to? A shuffle. Muffled voices. Denise, louder now. Is that Ruby? Give me the phone. More shuffling. Glenn said something I couldn't hear. Then the phone changed hands.
Denise.
Ruby, your father is very emotional right now. He doesn't mean to get dramatic. We all feel terrible. Now, let's talk about when we're coming up. I was thinking this Saturday, and I hung up. I stared at the phone in my lap. My father almost told the truth. Almost spoke his own words instead of the ones Denise approved. And then the phone changed hands, and the script started over. I felt sorry for Glenn.
He knew the math.
He knew 3 hours versus 15 states. He knew a wedding is just a party was a lie. But knowing and acting are different muscles. And my father never built the second one. I felt sorry for him for exactly 6 seconds. Thursday, 2 weeks after the Forbes article, I was in a 2 p.m. sprint review when my manager knocked on the glass conference room door and mouthed, "Someone's here for you." I walked to the lobby. Denise stood by the reception desk in her best blouse, lipstick fresh, clutching a pink bakery box tied with twine, performance smile in place.
Surprise.
Daddy and I drove up this morning. I thought we could grab lunch. I looked at the bakery box, lemon cake, the kind she used to make for birthdays she remembered.
You drove 3 hours, I said.
Of course, for my daughter. You couldn't drive 3 hours 7 weeks ago. The smile wavered, held, recovered. Ruby, please. Can we not do this here? You came to my workplace without calling. We're doing this wherever you show up. Denise's eyes went glassy. Her lip trembled, calculated, practiced. The same tremor she used when Glenn forgot anniversaries, or when the library board questioned her budget. I just wanted to see you. Is that so terrible? I need you to leave. I'm at work. This is how you treat your mother? My receptionist glanced down at her keyboard. 2 colleagues in the hallway pretended to read a bulletin board. This is how I treat someone who arrived without an invitation. Please go, Mom. She set the bakery box on the reception counter, slowly, like a prop in a courtroom. Then she turned, pulled her purse strap over her shoulder, and walked out through the glass doors. The receptionist looked at me. Do you want the cake?
No.
Thank you. Denise drove 3 hours to bring a box of cake to a lobby she'd never seen. She couldn't drive the same 3 hours for a wedding she was invited to. I went back to my meeting. It didn't stop with the lobby visit. The next Monday, Nathan forwarded me an email from Kyle Torres. Subject line: Congrats and quick idea. 3 pages long. A pitch for Kyle's fintech startup, user-based projections, revenue models, a funding gap of $2 million. The email closed with, "Would love to chat over dinner sometime soon." Family, right?
Family.
Kyle used that word like a coupon code. That same afternoon, Nathan's assistant at Metabridge pinged him. A Mrs. Dean called the main office line. Said she's your mother-in-law. She asked to be transferred to your direct extension. Nathan called me from his car. Your mother called my office. I closed my eyes. Kyle sent me a 3-page pitch deck.
I saw.
Silence. Then, Ruby, this is the line. I know. They're not trying to reconnect with you. They're trying to get through you.
To me.
I stood at the kitchen window watching the street below. A woman walked a golden retriever past the dry cleaner. Normal life happening on a normal Tuesday. I wanted to be wrong about them, Nathan. You weren't. His company was hosting an acquisition celebration gala the following Saturday. 4 Seasons Hotel, Boston. 200 guests, Meridian executives, VC partners, biotech press, Metabridge employees. Do you want to invite your family? Nathan asked.
No. Good.
1 question. 1 word. We understood each other perfectly. I hung up and sat in the quiet apartment. The bakery box from the lobby was in a dumpster somewhere. Kyle's pitch deck sat unread in Nathan's deleted folder. Denise's call to the Metabridge main line had been politely redirected to a general voicemail box. The gala was Saturday. We didn't invite them. They came anyway. Saturday night. 4 Seasons Hotel Boston. The grand ballroom. Warm lighting, round tables set for 10, white orchids at every centerpiece, a small stage with a brushed steel podium. 200 guests filtered in. Meridian Health executives in dark suits, VC partners with their spouses, biotech journalists, Metabridge engineers who'd been with Nathan since the garage days. I wore a navy dress Nathan had never seen before. Hair pulled back. The only jewelry was the watch he'd given me on our wedding day. Simple, silver, with our initials engraved on the back. Nathan took the stage at 7:30. He looked like a different version of himself in that charcoal suit. But when he spoke, he was the same man who fixed faucets on Saturday mornings. This company started in a rented garage in Vermont with one prototype and zero investors. Everyone in this room is part of why we're standing here tonight.
He paused.
Looked at me. And none of it means a thing without the person who believed in me before anyone else did. I raised my glass from the front table. The room applauded. Spotlight warm on my shoulders. Then movement at the ballroom entrance. Security shifted. A voice, loud and certain, cut through the ambient noise. We're family. Our daughter is in there. I knew that voice the way you know a car alarm.
Denise.
Behind her, Glenn, Megan, belly round at 7 months, and Kyle in a blazer 2 sizes too tight. They pushed past the check-in table. Denise walked like she owned the room, chin up, eyes scanning for me. I set my champagne glass down, slowly, like I had all the time in the world. Nathan caught my eye from the stage, a single nod.
I've got you. 200 people.
4 uninvited guests. One truth that had waited long enough. Denise spotted me before I could move. She crossed the ballroom floor with her arms open, smile locked in, heels clicking on marble like she was walking into her own living room. Ruby, oh my God, look at this. We are so proud of Nathan. The 2 nearest tables went quiet. A Meridian VP set her fork down mid-bite. A photographer lowered his camera. I've been trying to reach you for weeks, sweetie. We just wanted to celebrate with you. I didn't step forward. I didn't step back. This is a private event. You weren't invited. Denise laughed, loud, theatrical, the kind designed to make the other person look unreasonable. Oh, don't be silly. We're family. Megan chimed in from behind her. We came all the way from New York, Ruby. Can we just enjoy the evening? You came all the way from New York? I let a beat pass. Tonight? That's interesting. Kyle had already extended his hand toward Nathan, who had stepped off the stage and was walking toward us. Nathan, great to finally meet you properly. Kyle Torres, Megan's husband. I've got a fintech concept I'd love to. Nathan's voice was level, unhurried. I'm going to stop you there. Kyle's hand hung in the air for 3 seconds before he pulled it back. The ballroom was very still. 200 people eating salmon and roasted vegetables had stopped chewing. The pianist in the corner had lifted his hands off the keys. Denise's smile thinned. She glanced left, then right. She was reading the room, calculating. She'd walked in expecting a reunion. She was getting something else. Ruby, she said, softer now, can we talk somewhere private? You showed up at a room full of people. We'll talk right here. Denise pivoted. I watched the gears turn behind her eyes. The same recalibration I'd seen my whole life. When logic fails, switch to tears. Her chin trembled. Her voice cracked on cue. Ruby, I am your mother. Do you know how it feels to be shut out by your own daughter? The VP from Meridian exchanged a look with her husband. I have tried and tried to reach you. I'm sorry about the wedding. We all are, but you can't punish us forever. Megan stepped forward. She always does this. Makes everything about herself. Glenn stood behind them, hands in his pockets, eyes on the floor. Then Denise turned, not to me but to the room. She addressed the tables of strangers like they were a jury. I don't know what she's told people here, but I am a good mother. I have always been there for my girls. She held the last word until it trembled. A single tear tracked down her left cheek. The room held its breath. 200 people who'd never heard the name Dean before tonight watched a woman in her best blouse perform grief in a hotel ballroom. I stood still, arms at my sides. I felt Nathan step beside me, close enough that our shoulders almost touched.
He didn't speak.
He was just there. One of Nathan's investors leaned toward his wife and whispered something. A MediBridge engineer at table 6 pushed his chair back an inch like he wanted a better view. I let the silence stretch. 3 seconds. 5. Long enough for the last echo of her voice to fade against the chandeliers. Are you done?
I said.
The room didn't move. I kept my voice low, even the way you speak when you've rehearsed something so many times it no longer needs volume. Mom, you organized a boycott of my wedding. That is not you told Aunt Carol, Uncle Ray, and 29 other people not to attend. You wrote in the family group chat that going would send a message that I needed to learn that family means including your mother. I have the screenshots. The color drained from Denise's face. Megan took a half step backward. You left me a voicemail on March 7th, 41 seconds long. You said I paused. Let the room lean in. Your sister is giving me a grandchild. A wedding is just a party. Nobody at the surrounding tables moved. Dad told me on the phone, we can only take one trip this year, sweetheart. Then every single one of you flew 15 states to San Diego to pop a balloon. I turned to Megan. And you told the family group chat I married some IT guy in Boston and it's not like we missed anything. Megan opened her mouth. That was taken out of context. You said that already. 2 weeks ago. I turned back to my mother. You didn't come to my wedding because I planned it without asking your permission. You punished me for being independent. You've been doing it since I was 18. Denise's jaw was set. Her hands shook at her sides. Tonight, you drove 3 hours, found a way, walked into a room you weren't invited to. I kept my voice steady. The only thing that changed is a number on a Forbes article. That tells me everything I need to know. I took one breath, held it, let it go. I'm not angry, Mom. I'm clear. You didn't miss my wedding because you were busy. You missed it because I wasn't worth the drive. That's your loss, not mine. The room was silent. Somewhere behind me, a glass clinked against a plate. That was the only sound. Denise's face twisted. The performance cracked open, and underneath was something raw, something angry, something real. How dare you, she hissed. How dare you humiliate me in front of all these people?
Her voice climbed.
I am your mother. Everything I have ever done, I did for this family. Megan grabbed Denise's arm. Mom, stop. But Denise was past stopping. You ungrateful. I raised you. I fed you. I drove you to school for 18 years, and this is what I get. 2 tables away, a woman put her napkin down and turned her chair to watch. Kyle tried to salvage the situation. He stepped forward, hands open, smile plastered on. Nathan, listen. This is all a misunderstanding. Can we just sit down? And we're not sitting down. Nathan's voice was calm, flat, final. Glenn stood behind everyone else, mouth slightly open, looking at the ballroom the way you'd look at a car wreck, frozen. He caught my eye for half a second. His expression said everything his mouth never would. Denise, you planned this. You wanted us to come so you could embarrass us. I didn't invite you. You came on your own. The only thing I did was tell the truth. Security appeared, 2 men in dark suits, quiet and professional. Nathan leaned toward the taller one. Please escort them out. Denise's voice pitched higher. You can't do this to me. I looked at her, really looked for the first time in years. I'm not doing anything to you, Mom. I'm just not doing anything for you anymore. The security team guided them toward the exit. Megan was crying, real tears mixed with rage. Kyle's face was crimson. Glenn kept his eyes on the carpet and didn't look back. The ballroom door closed behind them. 10 seconds of absolute silence. Then the VP from Meridian raised her glass. One person clapped, then another. Nathan found me by the window, overlooking the harbor. He handed me a glass of water. His hand was steady. Mine was not. You okay?
Yeah.
I took a breath.
I really am.
The Meridian VP approached, a woman in her 50s with silver earrings and a handshake like a contract. Mrs. Calloway, I just want to say that was the most composed thing I've ever witnessed at an event like this. It's Ruby Dean. I kept my name. She smiled. Ruby Dean even better. Nathan squeezed my hand once and walked back to the podium to finish his speech. The evening resumed. Forks clinked. Conversation rose. The pianist started again. Something Soft by Bill Evans. My phone buzzed. Jenna. I just saw Megan's Instagram story. She's in the parking lot.
Crying.
Saying you attacked her in public. Screenshots are going around. Want me to post the group chat?
No.
The truth spoke tonight. Let them spin whatever story they need. You sure? I'm sure. I slid the phone into my clutch and returned to table 1. Nathan was on stage, thanking the Meridian integration team. I listened from my seat and ran my finger along the rim of the champagne glass. For chairs at my wedding. 200 chairs tonight. Different rooms, different numbers. But the lesson was the same. The people who show up don't need a reason. And the people who don't, no reason will ever be enough. I looked out through the ballroom windows. The harbor was dark. The lights of East Boston shimmered across the water. Somewhere in a parking garage below, my mother was probably still rehearsing her version of tonight. She could have it. I had mine. 2 weeks after the gala, the math settled. Kyle's startup, dead on arrival. 2 venture capital firms he'd been courting had partners at that dinner. Both watched him try to pitch Nathan while being escorted out by security. His next 2 investor meetings were canceled by email. No explanation, just scheduling conflicts. A VC associate told Jenna's husband at a networking event, "We don't fund people who crash parties for a handshake." Kyle's runway ran out in 4 months. He pivoted to freelance consulting and stopped posting on LinkedIn. Denise in Redfield. The Forbes article traveled fast through a town of 4,000. Neighbors who visited her library every Tuesday now knew that Denise Dean had organized a family boycott of her daughter's wedding. The daughter, whose husband just sold a company for $1.2 billion. She requested 2 weeks of leave from the library board. Health reasons, she told them. The real reason walked past her circulation desk every afternoon wearing the same knowing look.
Glenn.
Nearing retirement, navigating the transition to Medicare supplemental insurance alone for the first time. Before the gala, I told Nathan I wanted to research options to help him. After the gala, I didn't bring it up again. Glenn had spent 35 years letting Denise make every call. Now, he was making his own. Badly, slowly, but his. Megan posted an Instagram story that Saturday. Family is supposed to be unconditional. Some people forget that when money gets involved. Jenna replied publicly, "Unconditional? You flew 15 states for a gender reveal and wouldn't drive 3 hours for a wedding." Megan deleted the story within 20 minutes. The cleanup was quiet. No lawsuits, no public feuds, just the sound of doors closing one by one. I wrote the email on a Sunday morning. Nathan made pancakes. I sat at the kitchen table with my laptop and typed the hardest message I'd ever sent. To Denise, Glenn, Megan, Kyle. Subject, moving forward. I kept it short. I acknowledged that they said they loved me. I listed what happened, the coordinated boycott, the blank RSVPs, the voicemail, the group chat messages, the uninvited appearance at the gala. No adjectives, no accusations, just a timeline. Then the boundary. I'm not closing the door. I'm asking you to earn your way back through it. That starts with honest accountability. Not for Nathan's career, not for connections or funding, but for me. For the daughter and the sister you didn't think was worth 3 hours on the highway. Until that happens, I need space. I read it twice, changed 1 comma, hit send. Denise replied in 3 minutes. 3. She didn't even read the whole thing. This is cruel. You are punishing us for 1 mistake. Family doesn't keep score like this, Ruby. 1 mistake. She called a 14-year pattern 1 mistake. I closed my laptop and didn't reply. Jenna called that evening. How do you feel? Lighter. Nathan was at the stove flipping a grilled cheese for dinner. He glanced over his shoulder. You know they might never change. I know. That's their choice. I already made mine. I stood up and walked to the closet, pulled the shoebox off the top shelf. 27 blank RSVP cards, ivory edges aligned. I held the box for a moment. Then I set it in the recycling bin by the front door. I didn't close the door on my family. I just stopped holding it open for people who only walked through when they wanted something. Sunday morning, Cambridge apartment. Late April light through the kitchen window. Warm and yellow. Nathan at the table with the newspaper. Actual paper. The kind that leaves ink on your fingers. Coffee between us, steam curling up. I picked up my phone. Checked the screen. 0 missed calls from Redfield.
No texts. No voicemails.
For the first time, that silence felt like peace instead of proof. I set the phone down and looked across the table at the man my family called some IT guy. He was reading the sports section and eating toast with too much butter. Crumbs on his flannel sleeve. Same man who fixed faucets. Same man who held my hand by the Charles River while 200 calls piled up on my phone. Same man who said, "They will regret this." And was right. Not because he punished them.
Because they punish themselves.
The people who love you don't need a Forbes article to show up. They just show up. And the ones who don't, You don't owe them a seat at your table. That's my story. 31 blank RSVP cards. One wedding with 4 guests. And a family that learned the hard way that showing up isn't something you get to do on your own schedule.